Welcome to the Keelhauled podcast. I'm the voice of Sea of Thieves, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news for you. So tie yourself to the mast and hold fast.
Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, I have locked Caleb in the brig. He is not coming out for a while until he decides that he can get on board with Team Green. But this week, we don't really have much news, so I did want to bring on Chenzo, who is a streamer and a friend in the Discord server who has been playing the game for quite a while. And the reason I wanted to bring them on was to make sure that I had a differing opinion than my own to talk about limited time cosmetics, the value that they hold, as well as PvE servers and whether or not they are detrimental to the future of the game. All that and more in this week's episode of Keelhauled Podcast. As always, I wanted to take a moment to thank all the Patreons that have joined recently, and as well as the existing members of the Keelhauled Patreon. So this week, thank you to Chateau Neuf, Lumpy SRQ, Registella, Rustbelt Kid, El Jefe Esteban, TN Professor, Captain Zappella, Big Bad Pad, Mina Ferry, CJ aka Chris Johnston, Davram TV, Frank P, Cosmic Johnson, and Kylia the Aficionado. Thank you all so much for the support that you give me, as well as the Patreon and the podcast. It means a lot to me. And if you guys want to join and get your name on there, the third tier of the podcast will get your name in there. The second and third tier will get your name in the podcast. The third tier will gain you access to the Gold Hoarder Discord channel, where you can speak directly to me if you have any questions and know about some of the things that are going to be happening on the show before I actually record them. Some of them already know what this episode is going to be about because they happen to see who I was chatting with. So if you'd like to join, feel free to head over to the show notes. You'll see the links in the show notes for the Patreon. And with that, let's get into the interview. I'm gonna have to play it now. I'm sorry. It just happened. This doesn't always happen. I'm sorry. Go with that. I wanted to start off first off kind of giving people an idea of who you are. Now, you go by Chenzo. I'm assuming your name is not actually Chenzo and you don't have to reveal your name, but as far as I can tell, there's no actual proof that you aren't Ray Romano.
There isn't. You might know me from the movies that I've been in, the Ice Ages, yes, and also my show, Everybody Loves Chenzo. Everybody's Raymond.
I'm sure the call sheet probably said Chenzo because you've
they had to use my stage name for the show.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So I wanted to.
I'm just gonna say you're not the only person that has pointed it out.
That's the thing is as soon as I heard your voice, because you stream, and for many of the people in the community, I only get to hear them when I get to play with them. But I remember the first time I jumped in on one of your ships and stuff, we were talking, and I was like, this guy sounds like Ray Romano, but there's no way Ray Romano plays Sea of Thieves. Does he?
How do you know?
Is he into it? I mean, Freddie Prinze Jr. plays Sea of Thieves, but he's pretty out there about that. It's not like he's hiding behind the handle, the dread sexy all the time. He's out there as Freddie Prinze. So maybe Ray Romano just doesn't want to talk about it, and he's been living under the name Chenzo for a long time. And
that's a very real possibility.
It is. And if that's the case, Ray, thank you so much for all of your comedic efforts through your entire life. It has helped given me a basis to know that sarcasm in the right context is great and totally worth it.
Otherwise, you're welcome.
I appreciate that. So you've been part of the community for a long time. I honestly can't even remember. I'm pretty sure it was in the first year that you kind of popped into the Discord. After Sea of Thieves started.
Yeah, I started playing Sea of Thieves right at the end of the Hungering Deep.
Mm-hmm.
And I floated around on a couple Discords, and then I forget how I found yours. But then, for whatever reason, I stuck around. It was the good one.
It was the good one.
It was the good one.
It had nothing to do with anything I actually did. It just happened to be that I had a couple good people.
It absolutely had to do with everything you did. You know what I mean? Like, you set up the podcast, you set up your community. Like, I was like, all right, way to go, Logan. I'm going to hang out here for a little bit.
Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, the community has grown and shrunk and changed, and people have come and gone with the game for over the last few years and stuff. But I'm I'm always surprised because every once in a while I'll get like a notification on the Keelhauled podcast Twitter account, which I don't typically get. I don't usually see like a lot of activity on there. It's more of a landing site for people that want links if they're looking for the podcast or the Discord. But
Right.
every once in a while, I see you tagging an invite in the Twitter handle for folks that are out there who are just so frustrated with the game. And part of me is really happy because I'm like, oh, that's cool. Someone's, they're having a hard time playing solo. They're looking for a crew. They lost their crew, whatever the circumstances may be. And they need friends to play with. And you're bringing them to the Discord. And then the other part of me is like, these are really ticked off people who really are unhappy with the game, and you're sending them to my Discord.
Right.
So
I was going to say, most of the time, those are the people I'm talking to about the topic we may begin to discuss or whatever. But
yes, which if people haven't gotten to know us very well, they may not know this, but you and I have very, very differing opinions. But you were going to say something before I cut you off.
I don't remember what it was. I was just going to say, like, it's usually I send them in because I'm like, I know you're likely to find a crew, or at least have, a place where you can talk about stuff. And your Discord has both or all opinions on the game generally. So it's like, you should be able to find somebody that's like-minded there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit of something for everyone in the Discord. Thankfully, I rarely ever run into a situation where someone's just like, I don't have anyone to play with right now. And most of the time, it's just kind of timing on when that happens. It's never like nobody doesn't want to play with anyone. Everyone kind of has people that they like to play with, but that's actually because of getting to know new people from the Discord. I wanted to ask you, like, you've been playing Sea of Thieves for a long time. You started streaming a long time ago, but what got you into streaming? Because that's not like your goal. That's just something that you like to do.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just like I was teaching myself stuff. Like my overlay, I code it myself, and then, just figuring out how everything works. And then I liked, because I have Amazon Prime, that it saves all my stuff for a really long time. And I would always be able to go back and have a recording of an event of something that happened, because inevitably every stream, every time I sail, really, something spectacular happens, or something awesome happens, or something hilarious happens. And then it became a thing where my crew like to watch it afterwards, to be like, oh, I remember that thing that happened, and they'll be able to find the spot and watch it. And now, there's a couple other crews that I periodically sail with or bounce around with, and it's like, it's just something to share with them.
Yeah, it's a great way, because I've been in that boat so many times where I'm not streaming and something really awesome happens. Like I have a really good night. Back in the day, it used to be fighting over forts and stuff, but now it's something weird happens with a powder keg in a ship that you weren't expecting, or something.
Right.
Just a lot of fun. And if you don't clip it, then it's just, you have to trust that your memory is there, and it still surprises me to this day. It still surprises me that with all of the Twitch streamers out there, with all of the clips and videos that we've seen, so many people are willing to mock up the shrouded ghost and pretend that it actually is a thing. Like there's so much. I mean, everyone's worried about deep fakes and stuff, and like
that's what
metahumans and whatnot. Yeah, like the work being put into making Megs look like a shrouded ghost is ridiculous. So many hours wasted on that kind of content that they could be doing other more, I don't know, profitable stuff, because it's not like anyone's making money off of nothing. So,
yeah, every time a Meg comes up and it's not the shrouded ghost, I get a little enraged, just a little bit enraged every time.
So it's funny because I've seen you get upset, and it's the best thing, because I'm not saying you are Ray Romano, but the way you get upset is so in line with what Ray Romano's angry looks like that I can't help but sit there and be like, maybe it is him.
This is why when I get angry in real life, everybody just kind of laughs. No, I'm actually angry.
It's great. I love it so much. So with the overlays, you're the captain of the holy bartender, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong.
I am. I'm impressed.
But your overlay is one of the more interesting overlays that I've seen around, because you actually have your pirate as the avatar in the profile pic, and you have a really cool little voice meter that kind of pops up every time you speak. So it's a moving image of just your pirate, but I haven't seen anyone else really dive into it. Most people usually go with a camera or like a green screen on them. They've got their streamer mic in their face, and they're like, I'm talking into a beautiful $400 microphone, and you can see my perfectly lit face. You went with a pirate, and I'm curious, was there a reason behind that? Like, what was the kind of reasoning for going with that in coding it specifically?
It actually changes now too. I can put up called the Scooby Skull. It's the skull from one of the Scooby Doo's. I don't know. I don't want to have to constantly make sure I'm shaved and have my desk area all clean. And if somebody catch me accidentally like touching my face or something, like I don't know. And like that's who I am when I'm playing. I am the pirate. Like he's my avatar in the game, and I don't stream anything else currently. Like it's literally 3 nights a week I go sailing.
Yeah,
as a pirate.
Yeah, it still surprises me because I feel you on that. When I'm sailing, I am me, but my pirate is me, and I don't really have to have the camera up for me to feel like I'm expressing myself in the game, because I connect so much with the character that is my pirate. But I wanted to get a couple bits of news out. So did you get a chance to pick up all of the Twitch drops for the last
I did. Pad on your Discord kept me honest, pointing it out every time.
Yeah,
what do I think of the cosmetics themselves?
Because we got the Gilded Phoenix.
Yeah, they're okay. I'm liking the next set that's creeping.
That's going to be the next stuff. For folks that listened last week, actually no, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, because Caleb took over. I had to lock him in the brig, and I put up pictures of the color white in front of the bars so that he could get a better understanding of what white versus green is.
Oh my god!
So that when the next time he sees green. It is green. Thank you. Yeah. It's been scientifically proven. It is green, and no one can prove otherwise.
All the Gilded stuff's green. I mean, all the Athena stuff's green. Ramsey's green. All the Athena stuff's green. The Athena curse is white. No, absolutely green.
No, it's a really bright green, but it is still definitely green. I'm not letting that go. Caleb can fight me on that. He can fight Falcor. I'll fight him, and Falcor will continue making videos, so it works out. But we got another round of Twitch drops coming out. I'm excited for this because it's a really strange thing to see this Gilded set come out, or the Gilded Phoenix set come out, because as far as I can tell, these emblems, the Phoenix with the rare symbol, is the same stuff that they were using for the Creator Crew stuff. And part of me wonders, is the Gilded Phoenix set just stuff that should have been going to the content creators when they were asked to stream for the commendations, and they were supposed to get rewarded with this stuff for however long they continued to stream it, but now they're just giving it away to the masses? This is where I wanted to bring you in, because if people don't know, and I guess I've been kind of hinting at the topic, there's two things that you and I talk about all the time. And it's alliance servers, whether they're good or bad for the game, or whether they should be a thing or not, and value to cosmetics. And these are things that I've very outwardly spoken about how I feel about them. You have very differing opinions for the most part, but we tend to have good dialogue whenever we talk about them. But what do you think about the idea that this Gilded Phoenix set should have been stuff that was going for the Creator Crew reputation?
It didn't even dawn on me until you just mentioned it, that could be the case, or might have been the plan. When I saw it, I thought, well, the Creator Crew is giving them out. They're the ones that are able to, like when you watch the Creator Cruise streams, like that's, you get the prizes from them, right? You're getting, but maybe the Creator Cruise stuff's like, I don't know how that all works or whatever. Like, I don't know what they were thinking or whatever, but.
Well, it felt like the start of something. It felt like they were trying to build up the streamer base on Twitch. And the way that they were going to do it was they were going to put in-game rewards for people who streamed and had their Twitch account connected. And it was like, cool. So the goal is they kick up the Creator Crews. They've got their partners, which will do giveaways for stuff like that. But the Creator Crew is available for anyone. And if you want the cosmetics from that, you just have to participate in actually streaming the game. And a lot of people did. So when I see this, I'm like, okay, this looks like the Creator Crew didn't have the results that they wanted. They've still got all these cosmetics built out for it. And now they're just going to put it into the Twitch drops because it's a great way to drive engagement for the partners. That's kind of my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory on this.
I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory. It might be just a really good guess. It might. One thing that Rare does that I like is that they'll like, well, we're going to try to do this thing, and they do it, and they're like, that's not working out, and they change direction instead of charging ahead, still with a failed plan. So maybe the creator crew was going to be this thing, and they're like, oh, like you said, they're like, this is not giving us the results we were originally looking for. Like, screw it, let's move on. And then there's all these artists that are like, but we made these things, and they're like, all right, we'll figure out another way to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And so I always wanted them to be like creator crew, like, how about the people that do the maps or there's the one guy, I guess there's a couple people, but did the map that shows where the storm is. That's a creator. He's not doing a stream, but like that helps the community, or Rare Thief or whatever. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Those are creators. I always was like, give me an API that lets me see when somebody's sailing and what boat they're on or what their cosmetics look like or how many, how much gold they have or anything like that that's available for other people to use other than the website where you're the only one that can see it.
Yeah, it's really impressive to me, just like, and you brought up a really cool thing that is the meteorologists out there, the Sea of Thieves meteorologists who are out there kind of building. It's amazing that what they've essentially done is just track the storm and try and find out like where it goes and how to get it, what the patterns are. And they've managed to do that well enough that they were working on a website that actually shows off to whoever visits the website. It's like, hey, did you want to know kind of where the storm is? And this is the reason that this will be really cool is if they decide to bring back things like fishing tournaments or fishing events, and they're shooting for those very specific kinds of fish that can only be found, the stormfish are only found in storms. Having a website like this is going to be really, really important for people to be able to know like where to go when they log in. Were you going to say something though?
No, I was just going to say like when they posted the map or whatever, like at that time, after having played for years, I never knew the storm was in the same spot on all servers. Like it just exists in the same place everywhere.
Really?
No, I was like, like that's cool. And so they have it plotted out, and you can be like, all right, you're on this island, it's coming within the next 10 minutes. It's going to hit Sanctuary Outpost.
Yeah. And if you're playing on one side and you're stuck in one or at an island, or you're, if you wanted to start something, but you see the storm, you could actually check and see like, okay, what's the trajectory of this storm? And is it worth it for me to start whatever the heck I plan on doing? Like, I don't know, say you're trying to do Kegageddon, and you want to get as many kegs as you can. Knowing where that storm's going to be is huge to try and make sure that you don't lose everything. But to kind of get back to what we were talking about with the Gilded Phoenix, the reason we brought it up is because there's new Twitch drops coming out, and I'm looking forward to this because we're going to be seeing, February 19th is when it starts. 10 a.m. GMT, which is 2 a.m. PST and 5 a.m. EST. From the 19th to the 23rd, you'll be able to pick up the Gilded Phoenix shovel, then the Spyglass, then the Shuffle Dance emote, which sure. So I don't know if you wanted to miss out on a day, that would be the day to miss out. And then the pocket watch, and then eventually the fishing rod are going to be the pieces that you get next. I'm really curious to see what this whole set looks like because it looks cool from what we've seen. I don't know. Did you have any feelings on how they're releasing these? Do you feel good about the fact that they're doing it like each day you have to watch 20 minutes, or would you prefer to be all in one lump sum and get it knocked out?
No, I'm fine. It's just another way to get something else or whatever. I've missed things. Like I don't know. I try not to get upset about that stuff. I know a lot of people are like completionists and they're like, I don't want to watch Twitch, but I need to get this thing because it'll be like a gap in their collection or whatever. I'm okay with it.
So, and speaking of cosmetics, you talked about missing some of them. Are there some that you have missed that you really, really were looking forward to that are like on that bucket list of cosmetics you wish you could get?
The Whaling Barnacle set. I missed the capstan and the flag, and I have everything else.
What is with the Whaling Barnacle set? Everyone I talk to.
I don't know. That's one of my favorites. No one has it.
So weird.
It's like a good set. I love the figurehead. Like it's the way it's put in there. It's all hammered in and like looks like it's falling off and stuff.
That's
it's
too
awesome.
Funny. I have that whole set. I never use it, and it's so weird to me. Everyone's so excited.
I try to rotate sets every time I sail. I don't have a regular set.
I know you generally have a couple favorites though. What are your
I do
so
have some
what do you
favorites.
typically like to throw on?
It depends on what's happening or whatever. I sometimes do the grog set, and I have the Conqueror animated figurehead, and then all the it's a bunch of different ones that have the like clinking glasses and stuff. And then I have periodically put on the Forsaken Ashes stuff, the original set or whatever. That I like that dragon a lot.
No one ever uses that.
It is a dragon.
It is, but no one ever puts that up. It's so funny.
I think some people don't like it because it's like glowing. They're like, I'm over here.
It's so funny.
So
I don't know. It reminds me of when Asylum was like, yeah, I'm over here. What are you going to do? You want to come fight? Fine, let's fight. So it's funny. I've changed my perspective on the glowy stuff because of what Asylum said. And now he's just like, yeah, you can see me. I wasn't trying to hide, but okay.
Right.
Cracks me up.
And honestly, at distance, that stuff doesn't render.
No, it's true.
Generally, okay.
Yeah. People are going to see your ship before they see the glow anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much.
You see that you spot the sails first.
That's always that's how you know. That's always like, is it a person ship or is it a skeleton ship? And you always check by the sails.
Yes.
I wanted to check in with you about seasons because you tend to play a lot more often than I get to these days, because I've been trying to focus on making sure I get the value out of my games when I'm actually buying them. Like I just bought Mad Max for $5 and I was like, why am I buying Mad Max? I'm not going to play it for a while. So why did I buy it? And it was like, it was on sale.
$5, that's worth it for $5, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard too. That's everyone I've talked to about it's like, yeah, Mad Max is a good game. And I was like, I missed out on it.
It is.
So that's on Steam for $5 now, and now I have this game that I have installed. Don't know when I'll actually boot it up, but I'm trying to get better about that. But so season 1, we're in it. Overall impressions, are you happy with it? Are you unhappy with it? What would you like?
No, I absolutely love it. I am totally 100% behind it. I like how they did it. I like that you don't need the plunder pass if you don't want it. Getting the things done without trying. Like I haven't focused on the trials at all. And so I play 3 times a week for a couple hours. And since it came out, I'm already at like 71, maybe. And so, honestly, if you just do the events, the world events, you rank up so fast because the Kraken gives you a lot. The Meg gives you a lot. The Vortex, fighting the Ashen Lords gives you a lot. Doing a fort, just a regular fort gives you a lot. Like, in fact, I've been trying to do a fort because I know that's one of the trials and I can't ever get to one because I get distracted by whatever else is happening.
What do you feel about that? Does that irk you sometimes when you actually do want to set out to do something, but so many other things in the world are kind of pulling for your attention and you're like, I want to go do that fort. It's PvE. I love PvE so much, being that I'm so big on PvE that I have to go do this fort, but this other ship is just so right in my face that I can't ignore it. Is that kind of an issue for you?
Dude, it sounded like a recording of me. No, we play me and my crew and me solo even as like, all right, I pick a voyage or whatever and I go do it. And then if something happens, you just do that thing. Like that's the beauty of the game in my mind. It's like, you don't have to go do the thing. It's like, all right, this is the emergent event happened, whether it be a Kraken or another player or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like you got distracted trying to get on a skeleton throne. There's somebody there. You're like, hey, dude, we both try to sit together. No, don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. No, look, I just want you to sit on the throne with me. People poo-pooed that event. I loved the Thrones event. That's when I was still solo. And so it was really hard as a sloop to creep up to somebody and be like, I'm not shooting you. Look, guns are up. I'm unarmed. I have a white flag. I just want you to sail over here and sit on this throne with me. And then you can sink me. I don't care. Let's just do this where you get stuff, I get stuff. Let's do it. Like I
remember some of your frustrations with the first Festival of Giving event and trying to get people to turn in the gifts. And it was so funny to kind of watch you get so frustrated. You were just like, why don't they just turn it in? I don't understand. It's just take the thing and stick it in her hand. That's all you have to do. Just pick it up and give it to her. That's it. Why is this so hard? So great.
I saw an image on Reddit and it was Sea of Thieves, but the thieves was crossed out and it said trust issues. So it's Sea of trust issues. And everybody's like, you're constantly like, I don't understand what this guy's going to do. They're saying they're going to be friends, but I don't know.
Oh my God.
Why are you on my boat?
I have the font for that. I am totally going to type that up because that's great. I just want to see what that looks like. So I wanted to, on the topic of Gilded Phoenix set, cosmetics are kind of the hot topic in the game because it's the thing that differentiates us from other pirates out there outside of actual combat. With cosmetics, I personally, I like the ones I have. I don't really care, what I've got or what I don't have. If I miss something, it's not a huge deal to me, because I generally have my look. And I think once you get your look, it's kind of like hitting Pirate Legend for me. I don't care as much, or hitting like 75 with all the factions. Once that happens, it's far less likely for me to be upset if I lose out on like the gold. And same thing with the cosmetics. If I lost out on cosmetics, I'm kind of okay with it because I already feel comfortable with what I've got. But I know a lot of completionists put a lot of value in having everything, and that's actually the value to it, not necessarily like what it looks like to them. So I'm curious to get your thoughts
Right.
on cosmetics before we dive into value. Are you one that tends to go for stuff because of the way it looks, or do you go for stuff because you want to have that checkbox?
Uh, a little bit of column A, a little column B. I generally don't change up my clothes. I think you do what I do, which is like my pirate has a look, and that's just the way I am, and that might change slowly over a long period of time. Um, and I can let stuff go too. Like I'm not going to get bent out of shape if I worry that I can't get the whatever it is to 20 forts done in time to get
Hmm.
the thing. But I like having them be time limited because it's like you were there at this time. Like that's why I like the Wailing Barnacle set because it's one of the first things like where I started paying attention to that. And it like, I was here at this point when this thing was going on. I don't even remember what it was for. Was that the ship when they introduced the
The
skeletons?
whaling
The skeleton ship fleet, I think.
The Wailing Barnacle was, oh gosh, what was that? Because they had two sets that came out outside of the Curse Sales event, which was the Bone Crusher cosmetics, and that was the Wailing Barnacle and the Ocean Crawler, if
Oh
I
yeah.
recall correctly. I could be
Yeah, yeah.
mistaken about that.
And you got a couple sales from that too, which I
Yeah.
also like. Like if you were like the savior of the whatever seas, you'd get those sales, and like I like that too. I like that those. It's like part of your log or your
Hmm.
story, and then they stopped really producing those. Like there's not many things that come out now that you can't get. Like they introduced a whole new thing that's just in the game now forever, and so you have an unlimited amount of time to get to that. But I like the ones that are time
Hmm.
limited. You can only get them for a little bit. And I know people get upset about that because, like, I was down the shore and I was gone for 2 weeks, so I couldn't finish it. Like, it's not fair or whatever. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. So how do you
sucks. But
reconcile that? If say that's you missed out on the Wailing Barnacle, but you prefer the time limited. To me, it's conflict in my mind where I'm just like, how can you be upset when you miss out on cosmetics, but then want limited time stuff?
I'm not upset. I'm upset at myself or I'm sad that I wasn't there, but I'm not like, I don't think they should reintroduce it. I think they came around at one point and they let people get the drum from,
Yeah, the Hungering Deep
um,
event.
maybe not the drum or something. Yeah. And I thought that was terrible. And then my sword, my Forsaken Ashes Cutlass, which I loved, which came out with
Hmm.
the roar, but they were like, here, you can just get this too. And I'm like, hey, no, like, I didn't like, I don't want any of this stuff from that. Like, I don't have the day one I have reach. I don't think they should give that out.
So
Whatever. A couple people have the sales, founder sales. Is that what they're called when you were there
they
initially?
had the Brave Vanguard stuff, and they had the deckhand stuff. Yeah.
That's it.
So
That's it.
that
Yeah.
kind of leans a little bit more into some of the discussions that we've had is you have stuff that was time limited, but Rare has always made a point to try and reissue stuff in some fashion or other. After having it for so long, is there not like a statute of limitations to how long you can have it before someone else has an opportunity to try and accomplish a goal, whether it be bigger or smaller than what it was when you initially got it, to be able to get those cosmetics? Like, I'm curious if they did reintroduce cosmetics for people that weren't there initially. Would you be okay with them getting it if the way they had to get it was harder than the way that you got it initially?
Oh, it could even just be the same. And I would hope that they do it so it was just slightly different. Like I know how they have
Hmm.
variants or whatever, but as long as it was the same kind of thing. Like I don't even remember what those things were at this point. Um, but again, like I feel like, and I know we're going to probably lead into it again, but like it's the uniqueness of the thing that gives it value. And so if they're just here, just everybody can have one of these, it's like suddenly not cool
Right.
anymore, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like that's where the value dips
So
off.
let's get into that, because one of the things that I wanted to bring you into is your feelings on alliance servers. It's always a push button topic for the community. It always feels like
Yeah.
there's people on both sides. If it's one thing that I've liked in our community is that we can generally be pretty civil about it. A lot of people tend to get heated, but I don't think there's ever been any bad blood between people because of that. It may have, and I just may haven't seen it because I'm not trying to track everyone's messages or anything, but
You're not keeping track of the feuds. No, I don't think there's any bad blood, or at least I have not
yeah.
seen it either. I think what happens is people type out paragraph-sized Discord conversations or whatever. That's how you can tell they're into it or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Y-
it is a push button topic.
So I wanted to bring up alliance servers with you because we've had this discussion, and you generally know how I feel about alliance servers. I like them
Yes.
existing for the people who have a harder time with just the normal adventure mode. I would prefer if everyone was in adventure mode because I think that's the better experience for
Right.
overall. But I'm also comfortable in that setting, so it's hard for me to take normal CaptainLogun and be like, okay, well, this is how I feel. This is what I like to do. I don't like to go arena because it's too toxic, but I like adventure because it's just right. And alliance servers are just not quite as organic of a feeling to me. So I generally don't go to those because I don't necessarily feel like I need to. But for people that feel like they need to, I would rather those exist so that they have an opportunity to play the game, because at the end of the day, that's what I want. I don't care if how they play the game. I just want them to play the game because I want there to be people playing it so that there's reason for the devs to keep working on it so that it continues to produce content for me so that I can keep playing it.
Right.
The reason why I wanted to bring up alliance servers for you is because you generally feel like the way people earn gold and cosmetics through alliance servers cheapens the way that you earn cosmetics and gold. And if I'm putting words in your mouth, please stop me and tell me how you really feel.
No, that's about right. It's mostly this is where it's do the cosmetic items have value in themselves? Like I place a value on the Forsaken Ashes Cutlass because I went through the trouble of getting it, or the Jacket of the Damned is one that I always bring up. It's like clear the Fort of the Damned 10 times or something like 7 times,
Yeah.
10 times, something like that. And so that's an accomplishment. That's a tough thing to do on the regular servers because, you light up a Fort of the Damned, every sweat is coming in and trying to take it from you.
Yeah.
But if you're on an alliance server, you can just get 5-6 ships, get them all together, stack them one right after the other and bang it out in a night. And it's like, well, why did I even go through all the trouble of getting my thing when you can just do that?
Oh, there, pirates. I know you don't like listening to ads, but you know what you do like? It's saving money. And the way you can do that is by helping me. See, I have an affiliate link to Gamefly.com. What that does is when you purchase games from Gamefly using the affiliate link in the show notes, you can help give money to me without it costing you extra. And you might be wondering, well, what the heck would I want to buy over at Gamefly.com? Well, their used games are some of the best deals that you can find for physical copies of games. Like Watch Dogs Legion right now, that was just released at the end of October of last year, is on sale right now for $20. Cheapest I've seen so far. If you want to pick up Cyberpunk and you want to get a good deal on it, but you don't want to have to pay full price, no worries. Gamefly has got you covered. They've got it used right now for $30. Now, maybe some of you out there have the Avengers idea. They think you might want to pick it up when it's cheap because they might actually make it into a good game. Well, no problem. They've got it for $17.99. All 3 of those games right now, free shipping if you want to pick those up. Maybe you were interested into Jedi Fallen Order, but you didn't want to pick up Game Pass. You can pick up a used copy for $20 through Gamefly.com. And using the affiliate link in the show notes, you'll be able to help support the podcast just by helping yourself save some money on some really good games. Maybe not Avengers, maybe other good games. I don't know. Depends on how you feel. But thanks again.
And then the item has value because it's hard to get and it's rare. But if it becomes easy to get and is not rare anymore, then it's like its value decreases. And so that's one of my main points. Like, I understand that some people don't, they're like, it's like, I don't want to have to watch the horizon all the time and look over my shoulder and worry about, a galleon rolling up on me and just blowing holes in my boat when I'm just trying to like gather up stuff so I can complete my thing. But that's the game. Like that is the point of the game. And so I don't know. I feel like it's too harsh of a word, but they're boosting or cheating the system to gain an advantage over everybody else. And it's like, they're like, wow, you could just join an alliance server. You can't just join an alliance server. You have to jump through their hoops. Like, somebody set up the rules. You have to join their Discord and get vetted and all this stuff. And understand, like, they had people like trying to like break into their thing or whatever, but like it's not something you can just do. Like the average person can't do.
And I think that's kind of the interesting thing, because I when I think of alliance servers, I generally think of the Robin Hood server with Nafe Pacewell, who the whole point of his Discord and his community was designed on helping people who didn't have time or didn't have the crews to get a bunch of gold and get a bunch of reputation with the servers, but they wanted to get to that pirate legend status, and it's kind of how you promote Keelhauled when you do, is to try and help people find crews, because you want them to do it. I don't know that they ever locked out entire servers. They probably did at some point. I can't speak to that, but the point of it was to try and help people get something that they normally wouldn't be able to receive on their own. I always wonder, like, their story is different from your story as far as how you get it, and their value is going to be different on their items compared to yours. So do you ever reconcile how some people value their cosmetics because of the story and the trouble that they went to get it? Having to go through an alliance server application, having to get vetted, having to get brought in there, having to be trusted into a Discord where they're going to be able to bring you on into an alliance. Is the effort outside of the game for that anywhere close to the amount of effort that it takes for you to get on a server and to fight off other ships while you're working on a Fort of the Damned?
No, like that's way easier. And I'm not demeaning that. In fact, the concept, it's happened in your Discord of like, all right, here's a guy that just wants to do his thing. He can't do it. He doesn't have a crew. Like, why don't alliance servers, instead of having alliance servers, just be like, all right, we have 3 awesome pirates, join our boat, and the 4 of us will go out and get your thing done, instead of making the server PvE only. And because it's all these boats together and they're all in alliance, you're like getting mad gold and ranking up really fast or whatever, because all these other people are doing all this stuff. Or like I said, you can stack the Fort of the Damned together. Everybody gets one skull and gets all their lights and burn through it really fast, because, what's his name comes down on the dock and there's 14 people shooting him. Yeah. Like, like I said, you're gaming the system to gain an advantage over everybody else. And some of those people maybe need help, but that's letting them cheat doesn't seem the right choice. Like, and then they're not learning how to play the game, and they're going to do that thing and they're going to move off. And then I know people that play on alliance servers, they're like, all right, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to get my commendations done and do my stuff. And now I'm going to join the regular server and just be a Reaper. And then that's one of my concerns about is if they ever release PvE only servers, is that everybody will do their PvE stuff on those servers and then just join the regular PvE servers to fight. And then everybody's just shooting, like you turn the PvE servers into PvP only. Yeah. And like, I know people that are like, they definitely do that. They do their stuff on the alliance servers and then just fight on the non-alliance servers, which is like, you're ruining the game for everybody else.
Interesting.
Because you're not letting anybody have a chance to take your stuff from you, which happens. Sunk happens. We get sunk every once in a while. It just happens. Like, oh man, you got somebody jumped on you last night. These guys just were like in a sloop wrecking us, got away. But it's like, man, some people are just good. And bloodthirsty.
So that's where the main concern I think you have is you want there to be an equal opportunity for people to lose on PV on in adventure, as opposed to going to an alliance server, removing the opportunity for you to be able to find them doing their Gilded Athena, and you having to risk your Gilded Athena per se. This is all just kind of hypothetical at this point, but you having to risk yours because you're not wanting to go to an alliance server to work on that. And that's precisely it. It's not that I want to get them. It's that they're not taking the same risks as me. So I definitely see the unfair advantage that provides. It's it's not lost on me. I would prefer it, if I had every opportunity to if everyone had to do their Gilded Athena outside of an alliance, then I think that might actually solve that problem. But then that opens up a whole can of worms on a slippery slope, and just watches a whole bunch of worms slide down a slippery. Well, I don't know why you'd want to do that, but if you had to push it to the extreme, then having voyages that you could only do outside of an alliance is like, ugh, I don't know if I want to go into that territory. So I could see where you guys come from, for the folks that don't like having alliance services, because they're not risking anything. And it's weird because for me, when I think about Sea of Thieves, it can be hard for sure. It can definitely be hard. The chances of getting sunk is always there, because you never know quite what's going on. But there's more times than not, the game is more just win than it is lose. And I know that I can't speak for everyone, but I would like to think that most people would like to have that sense of adventure in adventure mode, and try and live there as opposed to alliance servers. So I'm really curious. This is something I don't think that Rare will ever move on, but with the advent and the eventuality of custom servers, they've spoken about how they don't want commendations or gold or doubloons, ancient skellies, things like that to be able to be earned for or on custom servers. So for you, are custom servers something that you would like to have around? Like say you wanted to use or have one, is there a purpose for them for you? Like, would you see them as a way to kind of train people up by getting like 8 people together and jumping on 2 galleons and going out and training up on how to fight each other? Or would you have them kind of learn how to do the tall tales so that they can go and do the tall tales on their own in adventure mode?
I think it's interesting that the training is an interesting thought. I think they're good for content creators, for people that want to do, like if they put a free camera in those things, that would be great, man. People would be banging out videos awesomely. And then for all the events, there's tons of events, races and fishing and all that stuff's good. And then for us personally, I know I would love to have a couple battles with some of the other crews I know, like just get us all together and be like last man standing and just have a fight. Like that would be awesome. But I think if you're going to train somebody, you train them like baptism by fire. Like you have to, one of the things you have to learn in the game is like, it's okay to get sunk. It's okay to die. Like you're going to go to the ferry. You're going to come back and your boat's going to be gone. And it's just going to be crap floating in the water and you're going to be sad. It's okay. It happens to everybody. Until you learn that, like that's what I feel like a lot of people that I encounter on Twitter and the forums are people that like started playing and then 3 hours later they get sunk and they're enraged. Like, how can this guy come over? He's like, I'm a new guy. And it's like, okay, now that happened. What did you learn? Like, make sure you pay attention to the horizon. Make sure you sell your stuff. Like, don't keep it on your boat for so long. We joke that it's like, man, we'll sink somebody. And we're like, holy, like, how much stuff do you have on your boat? You should have sold this 2 hours ago. And it's not yours until you sell it.
So for you, it's always been more about, I'll be honest, I actually tend to feel that way as well. I think some of the best ways to learn are to get people out there and to run into situations where you're like, I didn't come at this ship in the right way. I didn't anticipate how I should have approached them. And I learned I've learned over the years, or not over the years, but just over the last year and a half, I would say. I can't remember when blunder bombs were introduced, but blunder bombs are a necessity when you're going to go board, and you just have to have them. If you don't have them, you are crippling your ability to break people away from sword lunges or
crowd control.
They're amazing for that. But if you don't have them, then you are at a significant advantage. And a lot of people don't learn to hang on to them because there's a lot of really good PC snipers out there. Like Call of Duty has shown that there's a lot of people that know how to quick snipe in this game. And as much as people want to talk about hit registration, I get killed enough with quick scopes to know that that hit registration's fine. It's fine. I know a lot of people say otherwise, and there's proof and whatnot. But for the most part, I get killed more than I want to because of good snipers. So
Right.
blunder bombs are almost a necessity for me. But to have people get upset about getting sunk early on in the game, I almost and I can't remember when I had this discussion, but I almost wish that there was a way that Sea of Thieves could expand upon the maiden voyage system and give you a way to play with a new crew in kind of a closed environment where it actually takes you through some of the paces. Because doing the maiden voyage, you see a Kraken, you see a Meg, you see a ghost ship. Cool. They don't actually hurt you. And I kind of wish that they did, because it would force you to pay attention to be like, oh, this is what it's like to get hit with a cannonball. I didn't know that it was going to knock me off the cannon. I didn't know that it was going to take some of my health and put a hole in my ship, and I have to deal with all of those things when I'm sailing. And because it's not a threat on the maiden voyage, it's kind of just a cinematic intro to what you can expect to see in the Sea of Thieves. It kind of does a bit of a disservice, because it doesn't paint those as dangerous as they actually can be in the game. Whereas I think if you actually had to go through the roar and into Sea of Thieves, and you stuck on the same kind of private little server that you're on, but you could pick the ship size and it loaded in new people in with you, and you had to go through a couple of those events, I think people would be way better prepared getting into the real adventure mode. So for me, it's like one of those situations where I either run into people who are too good or really terrible, and every once in a while you'll come across a crew that is like matched with your skill level, and it's one of those weird kind of dogfight standoffs in the middle of the sea, and you're like, all right, well, who's going to run out of supplies first, because we're not sinking each other.
War of attrition.
So that's where I'm like, I kind of wish that there was a little bit more of that, because after a while, when you're sailing, you get so many supplies. But how would you feel about something akin to like a better training mode for people? Because talking about customer servers and training people up, you'd rather them trial by trial by fire kind of thing.
It's not that I'd rather them do that. I just think they'd learn better. And I think veterans were introduced to all these things slowly. The skeleton ships weren't in there. The Meg was just added in. You know what I mean? Like all these things were slowly added in. So like we learned the game on a less crowded server or whatever, and now it's like all this stuff, and a new person comes in and they're like, what the hell is happening here? And it can be, I'll see somebody be like, oh my god, you gotta nerf skeleton ships, and it's like laughable in a way, but I can understand how that can happen, because sometimes you could be sailing along, a skeleton ship hits you with a ballast ball, you're not paying attention, you knew, bam, you go down real fast, you're like, what the heck happened? They seem impossible to beat, and it's just, well, they're not, you just didn't pay attention properly, you got to bucket more. But if I'm not against that. I thought of, I always compare it kind of to Eve Online, and Eve Online's brutal as far as its learning curve and like how things work, but they have Care Bear space or whatever, so it's like a little cluster where you learn, and then to actually play the real game you have to leave that thing, and you can still die in Care Bear space and all that stuff.
Is that what they actually call it? Because I love that. I think that's hilarious.
I think they might. It's been a while since I played. I wish they'd turn that into a game instead of a spreadsheet simulator. But
I haven't dove into that, but I can totally see how that works.
Yeah, it's awesome. The world is like controlled by the players, and I love that. And that's what drew me to Sea of Thieves. Is like I didn't know anything about it other than the original trailer from one of the E3s way back in the day, where they come run. Somebody's ringing a bell and they come running down onto the beach and stuff. And then I bought Game Pass. And I'm like, holy crap, it works on PC. Oh man, right into it. And just started sailing on this solo sloop and just taught myself, like got wrecked a lot, crashed a lot, like tried to figure out how to do the digs and stuff, and looked up online and slowly kind of got into it. And again, that's how I found Keelhauled, was just from like reading and like, let me just listen to some stuff or figure out what's going on. And like, I totally enjoyed that journey. And like, that's why I love the game. And I feel like I don't want to make everybody, it's going to be different for everybody, but like, that's how it should be. Like, just take us. I would tell anybody, get a sloop, go sailing. Don't worry about sinking, do a voyage. Like your initial voyages, you can do like, you only have to generally go one island away and like learn to do it. Like, okay. And like, just know that there's all this other stuff that you're going to eventually get to. Just get used to doing this thing. Pay attention to the horizon. Jesus, look at the horizon.
I would actually take it a step further and say that I guess a great thing to do is if you can't get in with a crew and you just picked up the game, grab a sloop solo, do one or two missions, and then go find trouble and lose. Because I think I think getting over the anxiety of like, you know, and I see this with any game that I play. When I'm in an intense combative moment, I get adrenaline pumping, I get shaky, I get worked up. I'm like, there's a reason why they call the hardcore people sweaty, because you get sweaty working yourself up in this mode, and you're just like, oh my God, I can't handle this. And I would say, yeah, grab a sloop, go try out a couple little missions, and then go get into trouble and get sunk. But don't try to get sunk, try to win, but know that at the end of that little voyage, you're going because you want to get sunk. And I think we've seen that as we played over the years. You know, you always run into those crews that are like stacking 3 or 4 kegs and they're sailing directly at you, and you're like, what are these guys doing? They're not stopping and they're not turning.
Yes.
Anyone got any cannonballs? Can we shoot them? Do they have kegs? And sure enough, they've just loaded a whole bunch of kegs and they're just doing one last hurrah before they log out. And then they log, and you're like, okay, well, never mind. I guess that was the end of their night.
Right. That's the most dangerous pirates on the sea, are the ones that are done for the night. I mean, like, what are we going to do with all these kegs and cannonballs we've collected? Like, go wreck that little sloop over there. It happened to us. Like, you do a Flameheart fleet, and we're loaded up with like wraith balls and stuff, and somebody spawns in. Hey, what's going on? All the wraith balls flying out.
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
All right, it just disconnect.
Yeah, one of the worst times I was ever playing was I jumped onto a server and I was doing the Flameheart stuff. We got a couple wraith balls, and I was with I'm pretty sure I was with Thor Von Blitz from Twitter, and he and I were ending the night for the most part, I think, and we sailed over to, I think it was GSO, and there was just one sloop there, and it was parked not at the spawn but at one of the other docks, and we were just like, that's kind of weird. So we sailed over there, and I just started laying into them because I wanted those wraith ball shots for the commendation. I didn't care who they were or what they was going. And then I just hear this squeaky little kid's voice screaming in French. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm a horrible human being. What is wrong with me? I just ruined this kid's adventure. And I just had to come to terms with it.
Yes.
But I'm sure he probably sank someone at some point doing something that really upset someone. He got a bunch of treasure for him, so I'm sure. I guess at this point I'm trying to understand with Alliance servers, and I kind of want to beat this dead horse, because I want people to know
please,
that I think there's a place for everything. You say it's cheating, I say it's accessibility. I don't think either of us are wrong in this instance, and I think both of us have very valid points as to why it's justified to either not have them or to have them. So I really want to just kind of put it out there and say that with our Discord, we don't do Alliance servers. We do find from time to time someone will grab, like, you know, we'll try and get ships together, like a couple ships together on a server, because we just have, you know, 8 people wanting to jump in together on a Friday night or something, and we'll end up with like 3 or 4 ships, and we'll try and fill those out because you know, we got them, might as well have them and use them, and then we'll go and have some fun. And I usually get home late and jump in just as everyone's getting off to go to bed. And I'm just want people to have a place, like, if you are playing the game, you're struggling and you don't know where to go. Chenzo, I would love to hear your feelings on the Discord and why you send people to the Keelhauled Discord. Because I mean, I could talk days about why I love the people in there.
I know you have some veterans. A lot of the gentlemen and ladies of fortune I sail with are experts at the game, and they're spread across, you know, the continents. Like, you know, we have a bunch of US, East and West. We have Europe, you know, some Dutch. And like, a lot of times I think people can't find somebody in their time slot. That's always the problem, right? Like, you sail at 5 p.m. on an Eastern Standard Time. Like, I'm not going to ever be able to sail with you then. Like, I have to do dinner and stuff. But I bet you somebody on Keelhauled might be around. And it can't hurt to ask or watch that channel when somebody's like, hey, I'm sailing. Anybody want to sail? Like, yeah, I'll sail. And like, you drop in. And I like that. And then just in the conversation, there was a huge conversation about this PvP Alliance server stuff. And I like the idea of like a pirate Sherpa where I could get 2 or 3 expert pirates and then pick up a newbie or 2 and take them out and be like, here's how you sail. Even just a sloop, like one-on-one. Like, here's how you sail your sloop. Don't park with your anchor down, aimed at the beach. Turn your boat, have your sails up, your anchor up, you point it out to sea, keep an eye on the horizon, like, do these few things. And once you kind of know that stuff, the game isn't hard. Really, once you get past the initial stuff. PvP is a different animal or whatever. And like the only way to get good at PvP is just to do it, in my mind.
Yeah.
And so then you're going to have to get into fights anyway. Like you're going to have to do it, like you said, like let's go get in trouble. But I think, and a lot of people on your Discord are very helpful. You ask a question, bam, they'll know the piece of information you're looking for. Or like, here's don't forget to go on Twitch today because there's going to be the drops.
Yeah. Oh man, the number of times he saved me on that.
It's pretty brilliant. Yes.
So yeah, thanks, Pat. Appreciate it. So that's kind of what I was. The more you bring up the idea of a Sherpa, I'm kind of thinking this through as I kind of workshop this in my head. But how would you feel if I introduced a role that, because I mean, the Discord has roles. The roles don't really mean a whole lot. Like the Gold Hoarder is the one that means the most. And then I've got my Quartermasters, which are just my mods. Everyone else is either just a sailor, a pirate, or a pirate legend. And I would be interested to know, how do you think people in the Discord would be interested in the idea of having like a Sherpa tag, so that if there were people who were up for helping, if they had the time and energy, that new players could hit them up and say like, hey, I was looking to learn how to do this. Would you like to schedule time, or would you like to get a sailing or get a ship together and do that? I think
there definitely would be enough people that would want to do it. Like I wouldn't mind doing it. In fact, I was thinking like, I'll just pick a day, like every Wednesday night when I normally can sail. If you're around and you're a new person, let me know. We'll schedule it. Like you said, to just have a chat. All right, this Wednesday, going to go out. We'll just figure out what you need to do and we're going to do it. Here's how you sail. Let's pay attention. Let's I feel like a lot of times too is like, learn to get, like I said, you get sunk. Like it's okay. Run from the people. I love running. That's my new thing. As much as like fight against the PvP or PvE stuff, lately on my Twitter, I've been fighting with PvP people that are like, I want front cannons and the boat should go faster and all these people are running. I'm like, well, maybe they got stuff. Like running's a totally viable tactic. They're like, getting in a rage. It's like, well, dude, what's wrong with you? Like you have nothing to lose. You just bounced into the server, saw them, went after them, and they're loaded down with treasure and escaped you. Like you failed to catch them. You're just as bad as people that want the PvE only servers. Like learn to hunt better, hide. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. Figure out where they're going. Don't get so close.
It's so funny.
Like you have to come in and ask a rare to make a thing so that play the way I want you to play so I can kill you. No, I'm gonna wave to you from the back of my boat as I get away.
It's so funny. A lot of the requests that you see tend to be either captaincy or the Shrouded Ghost, but they always want something that fixes the thing that they think is broke because of how they play doesn't cater to what they want. So many times I saw like people that are just, you need to fix such and such emote because I can't tuck properly with it. Tucking was not originally intended with the game. You guys made it and they've tried to facilitate that, but it's not, you can't crouch in Sea of Thieves, which is, it's also a weird thing, but you're going to have to work with the tools that you got. And if it's one thing that Rare has always said is that it's tools, not rules. So come up with a different way of getting to that ship. And sometimes you have to try and bait people around. Like there's so many times I've seen people who are running and you just have to try and sail to one side to try and push them into a different direction so that you can try and, get them to go where you want them to go. It's kind of like herding cats. Doesn't work exactly how you want to do it, but there is a finesse. There is a means to the madness there. But I do agree with you. I would prefer it if Rare didn't have PvE servers, because I find the value in adventure, and I think adventure satisfies enough of what people want from it. And if not, you can always hop servers, and that may cost time. But that's always the fight with any game that I play. If I had more time, of course I would be a world first WoW raider. Or I would be, I'd be knocking out every single player game I bought on PlayStation. Even with the amazing number of 50 hours that I spent on that system last year, I already know, like, if I had all the time in the world, I could totally get it up to 55. It would be easy to get it up to, and then I'd be super pro. But with people that want PvE servers, I think that what you're talking about with getting veteran crewmates is a much more viable and easy process. If Sightless Combat is a good enough example, him being able to play Sea of Thieves because of people that he can play with on a regular basis who help him out. That is a great way to help facilitate people who need accessibility or just have anxiety. I love the idea of having people who aren't comfortable with fighting learning how to be expert captains and being able to sail the ship and call out things and see things from a perspective without having to worry so much about boarding a ship or hitting every cannon shot or worrying about snipers and stuff like that. So maybe that is the approach that we should all try to work towards until we find out something that will help kind of compensate for people that, that deal with anxiety, that deal with accessibility issues to give player. In this instance, how do you, and to kind of close this off, I wanted to give you an opportunity, but I did want to ask one last question is how do you respond to people who love the game, are fine with adventure, but they just want to have a chill session? And they still want to get gold. They still want to earn stuff, and they're okay with doing a couple events or something like that. But they don't want to deal with the PvP that night. Maybe other nights they're fine. They'll go out and Reaper it up. But every once in a while, someone will get on. They just want to have a relaxed session. So how do you approach them from that perspective?
The game isn't single player or casual. Like it's PvP is always on. Like that's what the Sea of Thieves is that there's inevitably another pirate's going to come around. You know, that's the true threat in the game isn't the Kraken or the Meg or any of the skeletons or whatever. It's the, like we said, the sweats or whatever, or even just other people that are crazy at the end of the night that have a keg on their bow and, you know, the murder boats or whatever. Like you don't get to play that game or whatever in this game, especially if you want to have it be where you still acquire loot and rep. No, like, I'm sorry. It sucks that you want to have a chill time. And then my advice would be try it. Just go sail somewhere and do it. Like maybe hide your ship or sink your ship if you just want to go fishing on a thing, have a collector's chest or a supply crate to store your fish and just do it and then come back with your boat and drop your fish off or whatever. The game isn't, you have to pay attention to the horizon. You have to be ready to either run or fight. And that's what the game is. And that's why I'm like worried about people that want to change it because I love the game as it is. And I'm not saying it can't be better or whatever, but I think making PvE is the wrong direction and it will be the leading edge of the end. It'll be, well, we want PvE service. Now we want you to nerf this thing. And now whatever, like, you know, splitting the dev time. Like all of a sudden they have to, you know, they can barely get the feeds to work on this one set of servers, let alone another set where things aren't working or whatever. And then, as I said before, where people are on the PvE servers doing their stuff, and then the regular servers become PvP only. That would ruin the game. I could see that perspective where trying to get some PvE content done and just having a bunch of people who just want to come PvP would really frustrate the heck out of me. I'd be really annoyed. Oh, then you have to bounce then. Like you have to try a different server at that point. And like the the game is both at the same time all the time. You could be doing PvP and like I always joke, it's like toxic PvE and the Meg comes up and starts like we're going to win this fight with this boat. But the Megs, for whatever reason, decided to only chomp on our ship the whole time. And we get sunk because the Meg sunk us, not because the other boat sunk us. And so, like, you can't choose that either. You know what I mean? In fact, we use those things sometimes when we're not having a good time. Like, I'll just go sail close to a skelly ship and bring them in to just throw some chaos into the pot to, like, try to escape, which is a tactic. Running away is a tactic. I am an expert runawayer. Yeah, I definitely feel you there. There's been times where I've lost out, like me sailing solo against a galleon and I'm doing okay. I've got like a plan. Like I've sailed to Morrow's Peak Outpost. I've grabbed the tall tale for the Shores of Gold. I've already let my ship ghost to north towards the island, knowing that the galleon didn't have time or send the people over to get the tall tale, and I would be able to get into the shroud to bait them in there. And for whatever reason, I grab a mermaid and I get back on my ship right as my ship crosses over 2 gunpowder barrels in some barrels of plenty. And I'm like, really? And it takes down my mast. And next thing I know, I've got 3 guys on my ship and they're all just, you know, they're just killing me and stealing all my stuff. And I'm like, just happened to be the one time when I went across barrels of plenty and they just had it. Like if it was 1 keg, it wouldn't have been a problem. I probably could have salvaged it, but it was 2. Right. And it was just enough to knock down my mast. And that was what got me. And it's like, sometimes the PvE in this game works against you and sometimes it works for you. And it can be you're right. It can be just as toxic as the people in the game from time to time. But I can't report
barrels to the devs.
No. No, you
So
can't. No.
I have to reconcile
No.
that.
And it just
Yeah.
happens. Like I said, you just sink sometimes.
Well, I didn't intend to end the episode with you having the I'm sorry dad voice come in and apologize that there is no shrouded ghost. That wasn't my intent. I genuinely wanted to have you on, one, because you've been part of the community for a long time. You stream, and I see value in that, because the content that you do put out, even though you're not trying to make that like a full-time job, the adventures that you have are really fun, and you have a good set of people that are with you, and you generally have good adventures. But you bring a perspective to cosmetics and alliance servers that I don't hold 100% true. I see your points, and I see that they're fair. So I wanted to get that aspect of it onto the podcast, because I know there's a lot of people that disagree with me about how I feel about alliance servers and if it's cheating or not. And your opinion is their voice, and I hope that they find solace in knowing that I value your opinion as much as my own in this instance.
Right on. Like I said, we've had this conversation before, and it's always been civil, and in the Discord it's civil, and it's just our opinions, right? Like, Rare does what they do because they're Rare. Like, we can only discuss these things, and I don't hate people that play on Alliance servers. I hang out with a lot of them, you know what I mean, in the Discord or whatever. I just know they're there. I'm like, that's like, it's hard for me to talk about it. I'm like, you're cheating. And they're like, I'm not cheating. Why are you being mean to me? I'm like, no. It's not. I don't. Well, I want everybody to have fun and enjoy the game too. I really do. Like you said, I want them to I want 1 billion people to play the game nonstop, so that they're constantly updating it.
So as we're kind of closing out, I wanted to give you an opportunity to take some of the people from the Discord. If you wanted to call anyone out and for being bad anchor touchers or just being terrible pirates, if there was any smack that you wanted to talk now you could get recorded for eternity, that they just couldn't, like, no one listening to this podcast was going to have the opportunity to be like, oh, I wonder what they said back. They're never going to know. You're the only one that's going to be able to say anything. Is there anyone that you want to call out and be like, I can't believe you did this to me this one night?
Not that I could think of. I will say that I am a dirty anchor toucher. You could touch the anchor, drop that anchor. Go ahead. It's okay. It's a tool. Like, it's part of the boat. It wouldn't be there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sure. I contend that going full steam at an island and dropping the anchor and stopping, and then having half the crew go off, and then somebody else stay back to raise the sails and raise the anchor and turn around, is a much more time efficient thing. And also, seafarers' chests are trash. Why are you spending all this time picking up these seafarer chests? It's all about gold over time. I am a gold hoarder. Rathbone is my spirit animal. Like, I want all the gold, but I want gold fast. I only have so much time to play. I don't want, you can leave those crappy chests inside the vaults. Just get the good ones, and we'll get another vault.
What about the little trinkets? How do you feel about all those little trinkets?
If you have a chest, they're worth as much as a seafarer's chest, but if you have a collector's chest, you can get 3 of them at a time. And so then they are worth it for unloading. You know, it's the time involved. Like, I only have so much time. We try to come up with a statistic at the end of the night or the next day of gold per minute. Like, how much gold per minute did we make?
You have
and that's always
a top so far that you've been able to earn?
I can't think of what it is. 2,700 per minute is maybe one of our top things, because I'll sail for about 3 hours ish, and sometimes we'll come out and be like, holy crap, we made 400,000 just in that thing, because like I said, we'll kill somebody and they have so much treasure on board. Like, how much treasure do you have on board? And that's where it's we did our thing and their thing, and we sell it on. That's where you get
awesome.
it.
Do you have you said Gold Hoarder's your favorite. Is would you say that is your favorite? Because I see you running Reaper a lot, but is Gold Hoarder still kind of your top trade company?
No, it's I meant the Gold Hoarder is my spirit animal.
So you don't care about the Gold Hoarders.
And the thing with running Reaper is you turn in everything, you get your Reaper emissary rep. You know what I mean? So every single thing gets 2.5% or 2.5 times the worth. Whereas if you're just running Gold Hoarder and you do a Gold Hoarder mission, you're going to get skulls and merchant stuff too, but you don't get the bonus on that. And sometimes we run Reaper to pick a fight. Come at us. We want to see what happens. That's what happened last night. And they came at us and we couldn't handle it. But we did get half of a port of the dam.
It's pretty good.
But yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I would love it if you could plug your stuff.
Thanks for having me.
I I mean, I've been wanting to have you on for a while. It's always just been kind of like, who's coming up? Is there anything major that I need to talk about? And if not, can I grab Chenzo on to talk about, one, how Ray Romano gets away with playing Sea of Thieves, and two, are Alliance servers really cheating?
You're not supposed to talk about that.
Did I say that? I'll cut it out. I promise. But Ray, thank you so much. But yeah, let people know where they can get a hold of you and what they can expect for your streams.
They can find me, I guess, on the Twitters. I don't even know what my thing is. It's one Chenzo, I believe. And then on Twitch, I am Chenzo Rama. And then come to Logan's Discord. Come to Logan's Discord. I'm there. I type too much. I reply to everything. At least I'll give you an emoji reply.
Awesome.
But yeah.
And you have your own Discord, which is kind of a secret Discord that I've heard about. Are these rumors true?
It's not a secret Discord. It's in my Twitch or my Twitch and Twitter profiles or whatever. But this is where it's like, I don't know. Mine's not as friendly as yours. That's not the right way to say it. It's not PG. That's maybe. Is that a better way to put it?
I mean, I have very, very set rules in the Discord because I want there to be an option if kids want to come, 13-year-old up, teens want to come to the Discord and chat and whatnot. I try to keep things as civil so that people don't have to worry about where they're checking out the Keelhauled Discord. Like, they can be at work and not have to worry about anything. But I recognize, I swear like a sailor all the time, but I try to keep.
I totally got through this without dropping one F-bomb. I am too.
I'm very surprised. You almost let the S word go, but you caught yourself. And I was ready for the marker. Yes. I was like, I'm going to meow this out so hard, and you didn't. And I was very impressed with that. I was like, all right, cool. All right, Pirates, that's going to do it for this episode of Keelhauled. I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to bring Chenzo on for a while. He's, and I know I say that every time I bring someone on, but he's someone that has been really cool with the community. He's always supported me, even when it hasn't been something that's like outwardly spoken. And he and many others on the Discord server do hold these values very true. And I respect them for that, because to me, the game has always meant just people enjoying themselves. And if you're not doing that, then I want to help make that different. But if you don't know how to get a hold of me, there's plenty of ways to do that. So feel free to head over to Twitter on @CAPT_LOGUN. You can always email me at CAPTLOGUN@gmail.com. I did get a couple of emails from folks. I don't have time to address those this week. I will hopefully get some time this coming week to jump on those. Don't forget about the Twitch drops. Those are starting, I believe, on the 18th. And feel free to join up with the Discord. Other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful week with Sea of Thieves as we continue our venture into the Season 1, and hopefully we'll get some more events outside of the Champions of the Souls, or Hoarder of the Souls, however they want to decide they play that naming convention. And other than that, that's going to do it. So Pirates, thank you. I love you, and I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.
Looking for a Fallout audio drama? It's True Vault Escapades! That's right, follow the death-defying adventures of Detective Walter Camry and his Vault Girl Bunny as they solve the Wasteland's biggest mysteries. From the dramatic Texas prologue to the high-stakes world of New Vegas, Walter and Bunny risk it all to crack everything from murders, slaver syndicates, and corruption at the highest level in post-nuclear America. True Vault Escapades. It's a Fallout show with a detective twist. Look for True Vault Escapades wherever you get your podcasts.
Following is a public service announcement from the Starter Set Dungeons & Dragons podcast. This is your D&D campaign. This is the Starter Set podcast. You know how, like, poison frogs don't lick each other's backs?
So it's Howl's Moving Castle with a face.
Hey there, I'm Great Mandibles.
Because one of the party speaks Abyssal. You're all going to die.
And then adventure falls into your lap. Plop.
This is your D&D campaign after listening to the Starter Set podcast. So join Sam and Ed every Friday on the Starter Set podcast for prime Dungeons & Dragons content. Any questions?